Guys, my name is Mac again, and I live in Lexington, Mississippi. Thank you for joining me back here in my horse trailer for another segment of On the Road with the SPRA. Now, we just got off the phone with my buddy Jamie Osbrink from up in Madisonville, Tennessee, and he did a little recap and told us how it shook out up there in Blue Ridge, Georgia with the Hendrick Rodeo Company last weekend. Now, I'd like for you to saddle up with me and let's strike out and take a little trip over to Heflin, Alabama. Over to the Clebourne County Fair SPRA Championship Rodeo. You know, I got over there, I got up on the announcer stand, and I was so proud to see Secretary Lisa Bearden and my timer, Miss Casey Colefield, up there. Those ladies keep me straight week after week after week. When I say keep me straight, I'm talking about crack the whip, and just they're sort of my lifeline up there on the stand. So I give Miss Lisa and Miss Casey a little tip of the resistol here and say thank you for all you do for me and the lifestyle of rodeo. Got there and talk about phenomenal specialty acts and funny men to get to work with. Multiple time SPRA Funny Man of the Year, Trenton McFarland, was there. This cat right here is sillier than a set of windshield wipers on a billy goat. I'm telling you, he is more random than a monkey eating a corn dog and will make you laugh just by walking across the arena. Pretty much doesn't have to do anything, and he did it. Boy, he kept the fans going. We worked back and forth, got to do a lot of sing-alongs. The fans loved that as well. It just doesn't come any better than Trenton McFarland. You got a chance to catch him somewhere, you make sure you do that. And then my man from the Bayou State of Louisiana. He's the Misfit Cowboy is what he calls himself. That's Mr. Brian Patton. And he brought his registered Longhorn steer, downtown Roscoe Brown, along with his 4-year-old red Brahma bull that he captured himself right out of the swamps of Louisiana. They call him Django. Man, they come in. He comes in trick riding on a Brahma bull. The Hippodrome stand. He leaves that. Boy, he takes a big sparkler out, twirls it around, lights up a ring of fire, jumps Django through it, lays Django down, and then the star of the show comes in. His 6-year-old daughter, Ms. Emerson Patton, comes in on a saddle on the back of 1,200 pounds of pure awesomeness. Downtown Roscoe Brown has an 8-foot horn span, and talk about something just as cute as a newborn speckled puppy sitting in the middle of a strawberry patch with a bumblebee on his nose. Now I want you to picture that. That's pretty cute. And Ms. Emerson Patterson on the back of that big steer by herself, it doesn't get any cuter than that. Daddy takes over. Man, we do a lot more trick riding. We do whip cracking. We do pistol twirling. We light the whip up. Balls of fire. It's just a phenomenal act, the Misfit Cowboy. INSP's Mr. Booger Brown from the show The Cowboy Way was there all weekend long. I had the opportunity to share the stage with him up there and share the mic a little bit. He was there signing autographs and selling his apparel. Another one of those guys that, puts in the time every day. He's an actual working rancher, not just a TV personality. He's an amazing colt starter. He'll be up in Lexington, Kentucky at one of the world's premier colt starting events, World for the Horse. Just a great guy. Check Booger Brown out on INSP, The Cowboy Way as well. And then we got into the nuts and bolts. And here to join me back to talk about the nuts and bolts of this rodeo is Mr. Jamie Osbrink. Man, I had so much fun talking with him about the Blue Ridge Rodeo. I said, Jamie, hang on just a minute. Just stay on the phone and let's talk about this other rodeo too. Just a great time. Jamie, welcome back.
Thank you, partner. How are you doing this morning as well?
Man, if I was any better, I'd have to sit on my hands to keep from clapping. I'm telling you.
It's pretty wet and wild and western up there in Dodge country. How was it down by you?
Oh man, down in Sweet Home, Alabama, it got sloppy. We had a huge rainstorm. I would say around 2:00, somewhere between 12 and 2:00 on Friday afternoon. Made everything sloppy. I thought, wow, this might get a little Western, this might get a little ranchy here tonight. The fans absolutely loved it. They turned out by the droves, and we kicked it off with our bareback riding. And, you know, the Frontier Classic Rodeo Company is absolutely second to none on their stock. They're not just putting on rodeos, they're putting on family-filled, entertaining productions, and they didn't disappoint this weekend. In the bareback riding, man, we topped it off. Casey Kaysen, that cowboy came in, stomped one down there for 77 points. He comes out, he was putting the steel in the equine. His chaps were flopping and popping. You know, our judges, multiple-time SPRA finals judge, Mr. James Bearden, was there on one side. The man with the plan from Utah, Alabama, Mr. Bill Hudson, was judging the other side, and they had their hands full. They gave Casey Kaysen 77 points on Friday night, and I thought, wow, there's your winner. But Saturday night, the number one cowboy in the standings came in there, and he goes, you know what? Casey has turned up the fire, and I'm about to answer back. Kenneth Glick comes out. He puts the steel on the back of those Ariat boots over the front shoulders of that horse. He rakes it over and gets his mark out. Comes out with that spur in action. Man, just bowed up. 77. Get how close this was. 77.5 points is how that shook out. A half a point difference between first and second. Kenneth Glick taking home the win in the bareback. That rolled us down to the classic event of rodeo, saddle bronc riding. Now, once again, on Friday night, my man from Cottondale, Florida, was there, Mr. Joe Farron. I know up in Blue Ridge, I believe he was 75 points up there to pull a check.
He was 75.
75. Down here on Friday night, he came in, spurred one down in the saddle bronc there for 71 points. And once again, I thought, wow, this is it. I have seen that cat ride for a lot of years, and he's one of the baddest cats packing a saddle bronc saddle up and down the road. You know, that's it. But no, sir. Once again, Kenneth Glick, the cowboy from North Carolina, comes in there, answers back to that 71. He comes in sitting number 3 in the standings in the saddle bronc there, answers back with another 77.5 points for the win. Just phenomenal weekend there in the bareback and the saddle bronc.
How'd they do in the tie-down roping for you?
Oh, the tie-down roping. Man, you know, I got to talk with Booger a little bit back and forth on the tie-down roping. It's something that they still use on the working ranches every day, Jamie. And, you know, Booger being a rancher and really promoting that Western way of life, it was a lot of fun. First trip we took, the cowboy that took the number 3 spot with a 9.7 hails from up in Pontotoc, Mississippi. Cooper Christensen, all-around cowboy from up there. He's been doing great in the calf roping this year. He's been doing great in the steer wrestling as well. You'll see him pop up in the team roping, getting that added money. But in the calf roping, he took home a 3rd-place check with a 9.7. The newlywed, Mr. Zach Wilson, he'll be celebrating his 1-year anniversary here in a few weeks with Ms. Lauren Terry Wilson. And Zach comes in there with a 9.4 to cinch up that 2nd-place win. Talk about fast. Talk about competitive. I just said 3rd place was a 9.7. 2nd place was a 9.4. And then that 1st-place win, the champion. This cowboy here, he comes to us from Calera, Alabama, Jamie. He's not only a cowboy, he is a former Alabama high school champion. He is a University of West Alabama Tiger Wrangler. He not only shines on all of those stages, he is also an honors student there at the University of West Alabama. J.T. Ellison is who I'm talking about. And he and his family go up and down the road week after week after week. He comes out there, elbow up, tips down, puts that Western necktie around that calf just as smooth as butter on a biscuit, dude. 9.1 is how it shook out for JT Ellison for the win in the tie-down calf roping.
Nice. Well, it sounds like you had some fast calves up there in the lab. It sounds like these cowgirls had their hands full. How'd the breakaway roping end up there?
Man, that breakaway roping got salty. And when I say salty, saltier than a used ice cream maker. We make ice cream down here in the Southeast. I don't know what they do out in California. But so when you do, you pack that ice there with the salt around it, and that's salty. And in the world of rodeo, when things get fast and get competitive, we say they get salty, so that you can just imagine how competitive this got. The third place win was actually split with a 2 and 8, 2.8. Bethany Stallions and Miss J.D. Gibbs from right here in the Magnolia State came up in there splitting that third place check with a 2.8. Maylee Wade, wow, she was roping next, cashing checks. 2.7 is what earned her that second place win. And then the cowgirl from over there in Georgia, she is a former UWA Tiger Wrangler. She has a degree in nursing from the University of West Alabama, and just mighty lucky that she was even home this weekend because she's normally a travel nurse. Ms. Marley Malcolm comes in there, elbow up, tip down, man, just stabs it on one for 2.6 to cinch up the win there in the cowgirl breakaway roping.
And it's good to be back out of COVID. Everyone's chasing the white lines again, going up and down the highways and the byways. And it's good to see those names were up for the SPRA up there in Blue Ridge as well. So the competition's tough. How about that big man's event down there?
Dude, the big man's event, there were a lot of good slams this weekend on the ground, but one shined. You mentioned his name, I believe, in the calf roping, in the team roping up there in Blue Ridge. I'm going to mention him right now here in the big man's event. Poplarville, Mississippi cowboy, all-around cowboy Marcus Terrio comes in there. Comes off the back of that American quarter horse, the most versatile four-legged athlete in the world, doing about 30 miles an hour. He digs the heels, those Ariat boots there, in the little patch of mud we had. Man, mud's flying. It's just sort of skiing. It is kind of what you would say maybe nostalgic, classic rodeo action. 4.7 is what it happened. That's 4.7 is what the clock said when he slammed him to the ground there. Man, Marcus Terrio doing the dang thing there in the steer wrestling, getting it done. 4.7 for the win. Congratulations to Marcus.
That's big, and that's the reason he's the champ and continuing on, and that's pretty respectful. How about them beautiful cowgirls chasing them cans, horse racing style?
You know, I'm gonna call out these top three cowgirls. That's because they got real close here. The top three scores and the top three times actually laid now were all in the 13s. That third place win goes to Ms. Raven Clegg with a 13-8-38. 1-3-8-3 and 8 for that cowgirl. Ms. Mariah Warnock comes back in there and answers with a 13-7-1-7. That's a 1-3-7-1-7 for Mariah. And then the cowgirl that really came in there, son, it looked like when she came in the arena, like she locked all four hubs in. Man, it was like four-wheel drive coming around the barrel. The mud was flying. The crowd was on their feet. When she crossed, when she crossed that clock, it stopped, looked back at me, and said 13-7-0-3. 1-3-7-0-3 for Brittany Day in the cowgirl barrel racing for the win.
Fantastic. Well, the only team event in rodeo, how about them team ropers? We had some fast times up on the hill, but it looks like you had some really fast ones down there.
Man, yeah, the team roping, just absolutely phenomenal there in the team roping. Ethan Wheeler and Rain Starkey come in. That dynamic duo got out there. And like you said, on the hillside, boy, that mud, it was just something to be reckoned with. But the cowboy got his tip down, sucked up both back feet. Ethan Wheeler, Rain Starkey, 5.4 to cinch up the win and topple everybody over there in the team roping. Man, that's another one of those events that, I love. I absolutely love it because you have family members roping with each other. You have all kinds of great things going on there. If you want to get into the Western way of life and the family lifestyle of rodeo, you can do that with team roping. There's a team roping somewhere every weekend. And it's such a great family event. It's probably one of the fastest growing events in the lifestyle of rodeo. Wouldn't you say so?
It is, and our good friend, Mr. Bob Coleman, speaking with him, more money has changed hands than any equine event, team roping. Up and down the road, it is the most paid out event in all of these United States and the world. So it's good to have them in the pro ranks and what we've got. But we talked about them bulls up there on the hill and how excited they were to be back on the dirt after this whole COVID stoppage. How are your bulls down there for Frontier?
Ooh. Man, the Frontier Classic Rodeo Company took off the gloves with the bull riding. They brought some bovine beast athletes that were absolutely second to none. And the Cowboys, they came in there to ride as well. In the bull riding, boy, we had 1, 2, 3 qualified rides all weekend. That's how tough and how ranked these bulls were. But the Cowboy, Mr. Tough Morgan, he came in sitting number 1 in the SPRA World Standings. He hung on to the back of that bovine beast tighter than a hair in a biscuit, dude. And when the clock said zzz and the buzzer went off, James Bearden and Mr. Bill Hudson gave that Cowboy 65 points. He stacked another $261 on top of everything he had won. It's going to help him make his way there to Philadelphia, Mississippi, to the 2020 Southeastern Professional Finals Rodeo. And then Mr. Brian Ferguson came in there. He drew the Frontier Classic Rodeo Bull, boy, that has probably retired more people than Social Security. But that's why he got a score of 81.5. The bull performed. The Cowboy performed. The fans were on their feet. 81.5 points to Brian Ferguson. And then, right there at the end, you turn up the heat, and the Cowboys perform. Not just the Cowboys. I think these bulls stand there in the chutes. They watch their bovine buddies out there bucking around. They're like, yeah, buddy, I'm not going to let you beat me. Hold my beverage and watch this. So they came out. Dude, Dustin Herman came out and just put the steel in the beef underneath, stabbed one down, 83.5 points for the win there in the bull riding. What a phenomenal weekend of rodeo there in Heflin, Alabama, Jamie.
Buddy, it's been an honor and a pleasure, but I think for both you and I to see Old Glory back in that arena is just why we're here, what we do. It's a lifestyle, and to see these cowboys and cowgirls going up and down the road once again, it brings a big smile to my face and warms my heart quite a bit, because you see what's going on in the rest of the world and the rest of sports in general. But to have Old Glory, and these fans are just eating it alive like piranhas out there right now, and everybody's seeing what true America is, and it's been great to have the SPRA keeping that Western way of life going.
www.sprarodeo.net. That's where the fans can click on that schedule and find where we are every week. They don't just make you proud to be a part of rodeo. The SPRA makes you proud to be an American. And my hat is off to them and everything they do for the Western way of life, for the cowboys and cowgirls, and the family lifestyle of rodeo. Last weekend over there, Buster Miles Chevrolet, boy, an absolute amazing sponsor, title sponsor there in Heflin, Alabama. We give them a little tip of the resistol there as well and say thank you for everything you do promoting the Western way of life. That's how it shook out last weekend in Heflin, Alabama, your Cleburne County Fair, SPRA Championship Rodeo. This weekend, guys, here's the poster. Me, Frontier Classic Rodeo, funny man Trent McFarland, the amazing Misfit Cowboy, Mr. Brian Patton, along with his Longhorn steer, downtown Roscoe Brown. His 6-year-old daughter, Ms. Emerson, will probably be there too. your 2020 edition, Bice Motors, Lake Martin Ram Rodeo, Alex City, Alabama, August the 28th and 29th. Guys, my name is Mac again. I'm from Lexington, Mississippi. Jamie Osbrink, you tell them goodbye too, bud.
Hey, everybody. Be safe out there. Be good humans. And Max, keep rocking the mic, buddy.
Meet us on the road with the SPRA. Y'all come.